never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. Those days are gone.
I remember so well. I was going abroad as a singer. No more worries.
All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. Hard to be sure. Sometimes I feel so insecure, and love so distant and obscure.
I suppose I just wish that I prepared more and that I had more realistic expectations.
All by myself.
Migration is all about dreams of people, and it's very difficult to fight against those dreams.
Dating overseas worker si Jonalyn.
I was excited to leave because it would be my first time to go abroad, and I was excited to be a singer because I thought that this would be good for my career to go abroad and sing abroad, and I was very excited about being able to help my family, and so I didn't really think about my health. I didn't think that I would get sick.
10 taon na seaman si Joseph.
I have a family. I have 3 kids, and every time I go back to the ship, they feel lonely, especially me, because I spent almost 6 months on board the ship. You know, I work in a vessel in offshore, and the things that I've been encountered, especially on board, is the loneliness, especially homesick. But you need to fight these things, you know. So I control these things. So I keep my mind busy, especially on my work. Because if you're not control these 2 things, maybe you get crazy on board the ship.
Magtatrabaho si Grace sa ibang bansa sa unang pagkakataon.
I try my very best to work very hard to support not only my parents and to my brother and sister, because he is a missionary, and my sister is only in a household, so I am the one who taking care of them, and also my niece and my parents, and I pray to the Lord that all my very best I work very hard to help my family. I'm sad because I leave my family, especially my parents, and our bonding. I really miss it.
Dito si Doktora Evangeline De La Puente. Isa siya sa mga dalubhasang doktor na gumagamot sa mga overseas worker na nagkaroon ng problema sa pag-iisip habang nagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa.
The person really goes abroad with the hopes and dreams, not just her own, but of her entire family and of the entire community, and she carries that burden, and there's no turning back. She will return only with success. That's the only option left for her.
Till I cannot please my family, so I try not to come back again.
I received many letters from my family, always asking for more money. Of course, it was nice talking to my mom and my dad once in a while, but we always ended up discussing their financial needs. Sometimes I even felt they appreciated my remittances more than they appreciated me. When I sent money back home, I always enclosed the letter with good-looking pictures of myself. until the day I collapsed. And I was sent back to my family in a wheelchair. Because I always had weak lungs as a child, and I'd get tired easily, I'd run out of breath easily, and I was afraid that if they found out during the medical exam that I had weak lungs, they wouldn't let me go. So what I did was I asked my sister to go to the medical exam instead of me, and so she went and she was able to pass on my behalf.
If you are sick of something, better get treatment for the illness first before you take your physical exam. Because if you fake it and do not get treatment, your illness might recur while you're abroad, and that will cause a bigger problem for you, and maybe for your agency and your family as well.
Okay, that's 120/70, which is normal. Health examination prior to departure is really a basic requirement for migrant worker. It consists of a review of medical history of the patient based on his story. And number two, this is the physical examinations, which is the doctor. It's on the point of view of the doctor to really say that there is no problem based on the medical history of the patient. And it comprises of vital signs. From head to foot, we usually do a complete physical examination, including neurological examination. With this, we would note down any discrepancy from the physical examination which is done by a doctor to the previous medical history given by the migrant worker.
My condition worsened during my stay in Japan. My only way to cope with it was to work hard and watch movies. I was not prepared for the cold weather. The coughing would not stop, but I kept on working. I was afraid, and I hid my illness.
Nanganganib ang mga migrant workers na magkaroon ng mga problema sa mga bansang pinagtatrabahuhan. Kabilang sa mga kondisyong ito ang pagtatae dahil sa kakaibang pagkain, pagsakit ng ulo dahil sa kahirapan sa trabaho, at hika dahil sa maalikabok na paligid.
Not so healthy individual going abroad, any other additional factors such as change in climate, the lifestyle, the diet, the stress that they will be experiencing from a different country would or might give some complication with the present illness that they have.
I've got sick like migraine. Sometimes my heart beating very fast when I feel sometimes nervous.
You know, the movement of this vessel. Oh, so you are. So every time I feel this, I make some vomiting, you know.
My first 2 to 3 months, I always cry.
Mahirap ang pangingibang bayan para magtrabaho, hindi lamang sa pisikal, kundi pati na rin sa emosyonal na aspeto. Naghihirap ang halos lahat ng mga nangingibang bayan sa sobrang kalungkutan dahil sa tagal ng pagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa. At dagdag pa ang problemang hinaharap ng pamilya. Nagkakaroon naman ng sakit sa pag-isip tulad ng sobrang kalungkutan at pagkabaliw ang iba sa mga migrant workers.
In my experience, I have one messman getting crazy on board the ship because on board the ship they have so many stress to think. There are so many things to do, you know.
When an overseas worker, or anybody for that matter, is subjected to conditions that are unacceptable, the mind creates an alternate reality. So they hear voices that other people don't hear. Some of them see people that other people don't see. And they begin to believe things that may have no basis in reality.
Sometimes he talked to himself, especially on his cabin, or while he is working on the galley.
While you're cleaning, for example, a teacup, you can imagine it's a piece of jewelry that you're shining. It's a diamond. If it makes your work easier, lighter, certainly indulge your imagination. It is dangerous only when you actually believe that what you're holding is a diamond. You actually believe that, and it's dangerous.
Strong stress. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat.
If you have one sleepless night, is it time to go to the doctor right away? Maybe if you have one sleepless night, then that's no cause to panic. However, if you have 2 or 3 consecutive sleepless nights, you have difficulty sleeping for many days, then it's important to consult. If your appetite is not the same as before, then that's also a warning sign. And also if you have a past history of having had a problem. Because some workers do get to go abroad and even with a history of having had depression or psychosis before.
I really didn't seek medical assistance. I just got medicine from my friends and I kept it to myself. Some of the medicines helped, but there were some like herbal medicines that we would get from the market. And after taking these medicines, I'd feel okay for a while, but then the side effects would be bad.
Nagsagawa ng pag-aaral si Malu Merin ng Action for Health Initiatives tungkol sa mga migrant workers at ang kanilang kalusugan.
Among migrant workers, in the study we also found out that there is a tendency to self-medicate or to consult family members, to consult friends when they're ill, not to see the doctor. Usually you see the doctor when your illness is already in a bad state, in a really bad state that you need to be hospitalized. But normally the attitude is, it's better not to know that you're ill, because if you're ill, then you'll have to think about it. It will give you problems psychologically, mentally. Also, you will have to think about the costs. Where will you get the money to pay for medication, to pay for treatment?
I didn't want anybody to notice that I was sick. I wanted them to feel that everything was okay and that I was doing my job. And so what I did was I asked one of the customers to come up and sing a song with me, and I was acting very happy and very eager. And while I was singing, I just couldn't help it anymore. I just felt so dizzy and I felt that I couldn't breathe. My manager asked me what happened, and when he found out that I was actually very sick, it made him very angry. He asked me why I didn't do anything about it, why I didn't tell him that I was sick in the first place.
It would, of course, be so much better if they reached out and shared how they were feeling at the moment. The thing is, most of them do not know how to seek help. Or more importantly, they don't even know that they need help and that help is available if they want it.
Even though that I feel some sickness, I need to do this because I signed this contract, I signed this kind of job. So I have no choice to finish this. But as long as my job is finished, I run to my cabin and sleep like a baby.
When I have a headache, I sing love song or lonely songs. And then I cried while singing. Then the customers, because they think that I felt the song. That's why I cried. They gave me tips.
Sometimes they have physical or they have health problems, but they tend to ignore it or neglect it as long as they can keep doing their work. For example, an extreme example might be somebody who develops a neck mass. and his job is to carry cargo. As long as he can carry cargo, for example, on his right shoulder and the neck mass is on his left shoulder, he will keep carrying the cargo and just let the mass grow. Only when the mass has grown to such proportions that he cannot do his work, then that's the only time he will seek help.
One of my friends, when we are in Africa, in Nigeria, got this malaria. When he going ashore and he go to the bar and drink a lot, he don't feel anything. But when he come back to the ship and start sleeping, wake up in the morning, his body is shaking, you know, and his face is a little bit yellow, something like that. As soon as possible, I report them to the captain, and he's sent in the hospital.
Nanganib ang mga migrant workers na mahawa sa mga sakit na galing mismo sa bansang pinagtatrabahuhan nila. Isa na dito ang malaria na dulot ng isang parasito na galing sa kagat ng lamok. Makukuha ito sa mga tropical na bansa at ito'y nakakaepekto sa 3 milyong katao at 1 milyong ang namatay dahil sa taong-taon sa buong mundo. Ang mga sintomas ng sakit ay panginginig ng katawan, pananakit ng ulo, pagkahilo, lagnat, at anemia. Kung pupunta ka sa mga bansang apektado ng sakit na ito, importanteng gumamit ka ng kulambo habang natutulog. Magsuot ng pantalon at damit na may mahabang manggas. Gumamit ng mga produkto laban sa lamok o kumonsulta sa doktor tungkol sa mga gamot laban sa malaria. Tuberculosis o TB ang sanhi ng 2 milyong kamatayan at kulang-kulang sa 1% ng populasyon sa buong mundo ang apektado taon-taon. Ang ilan sa mga sintomas ng sakit na ito ay pamamayat, lagnat, ubo, sakit ng dibdib at pagkakaroon ng dugo sa laway. Pwedeng magamot ang sakit na ito sa pamamagitan ng pag-inom ng antibiotic, pero nakasalaray ang epekto nito sa pagtutulungan ng doktor at pasyente. Nakukuha ang hepatitis A sa maduming tubig at pagkain, habang nakukuha naman ang hepatitis B at C sa pagsaring ng dugo at pagtatalik. Ilan sa mga sintomas ang sipon, pagod, paninilaw ng balat at mata, pero minsan hindi makikita ang mga ito sa mga unang araw ng pagkahawa. Malalaman lamang na positibo ang pasyente sa virus na ito sa pamamagitan ng pagsusuri ng dugo. Importanteng matuklasan ng maaga na apektado ang pasyente sa sakit na ito dahil sa hepatitis B ay pwedeng maging cancer at maging sanhi ng kamatayan. May bakuna laban sa hepatitis A at B. Sima ng asawa ni Marie. Nahawa siya kailan lang sa sakit ng asawa. Mahal ni Marie ang asawa at napakahirap sa kanya ang tanggapin ang karamdaman niya.
Yun nga lang ho, yung parang yung may umano sa akin, yung sa panty ko, yung may dilaw na lumalabas, tapos yung iba yung amoy niya.
May mga ilang uri ng sexually transmitted infections or STIs, kabilang dito ang mga sumusunod: syphilis, gonorrhea o tulo, chlamydia o pagkaroon ng kuto sa ari na nagdudulot ng sobrang pangangati, herpes, kulugo sa ari, trichomoniasis, chancroid, hepatitis B, at HIV/AIDS. Nagagamot ng ilan sa mga ito, pero ang iba ay hindi nadudulot sa pagkabuog o pagkamatay.
Basta alam niya yun, sabi ko, pag nasa ibang lugar ka, huwag kang aano ng ibang babae. Antayin mo na dumating ka sa akin. Basta kung talagang mahal mo ako, magtiis ka. Total, kung uuwi ka naman ng bahay, nandyan ako. Basta ang importante, pagbibigyan kita ngayon sa susunod. Huwag na. Huwag mo nang gawin sa akin yan. Na aano ka ng ibang babae, tapos mangyayari sa akin. Mapupunta sa akin yung sakit na yan. Hindi ko na matanggap yan. Pagbibigyan ko muna siya dahil isa pa lang naman na pagkakamali.
Nakukuha ang STI sa pagtatalik. Iba't ibang sintomas ang makikita sa iba't ibang sakit. Pero importanteng kumonsulta sa doktor kung merong pangangati, sakit o sugat ng ari, tulo o nana na galing sa ari, singaw ng balat, at kapaguran. Dapat regular ang pagpapasuri sa doktor dahil walang sintomas ang ilan sa mga STI, lalo na sa mga kababaihan. Mabisang panlaban ang kondom sa STI.
While I choose this kind of job is you go to different country for free. You don't spend money, because you already on board the vessel. So while you are going in different countries, you see a lot of views, a lot of different people, especially the ladies. You can ignore to go out and make sometimes to be happy, because the life of the seaman on board the vessel is very difficult. Before I'm drink too much, I'm lose control. That was 9 years ago, because when I come back on the Philippines, especially on my home, when I always saw my family, then I tell to myself that I need to change something to me, because what I did on board the vessel, because if I'm making a mistake again, maybe I lose my job. So you can see my family.
Risky behaviors, that's for everyone, whether you're a migrant worker or not. You will engage in risky behavior because of certain conditions. For migrant workers, one of the key findings that we got from the research that CARAM conducted was, the number one problem they experience when they're abroad is homesickness and loneliness. And of course, these are factors that influence them to get involved in relationships, have social contacts with people. And because they're away from their families, they don't have that support system in place.
Every time I go out, I'm not taking some ladies because I was afraid on this virus that has been spread worldwide, especially this HIV.
Dahan-dahan akong naglakad sa kalsada. Inisip na magpakamatay. Wala na akong dahilan para mabuhay. HIV positive daw ako. Isa lang ang naging boyfriend ko noon. Seryoso at matalino siya. At mahal na mahal namin ang isa't isa. Di ko maintindihan kung paano ko nakuha ang sakit na yon sa kanya. Dati, naririnig ko lang ang tungkol sa AIDS. Kala ko madali ko lang malaman kung sino ang mga impektado dahil may rashes sila sa buong katawan.
Oh, it's only the homosexuals who will get that. Oh, it's only the women who work in clubs or bars who will get that. And so this tendency to attribute HIV/AIDS to other populations enables them to distance themselves from it.
Nagtatrabaho si Joshua sa isang NGO na tumutulong sa mga taong nahawaan ng HIV.
There was a kind of a shock when I was infected with HIV. Because again, I was infected with HIV because through relationship.
Ang HIV ay makakahawa sa pamamagitan ng pagtatalik ng walang kondom, oral sex, pagsasalin ng dugo na apektado ng virus, paggamit ng ineksyon o matatalim na bagay ng isang addict na nahawaan ng mga virus at paghahawa ng isang buntis na babae na may sakit sa kanyang anak sa sinapupunan. Hindi nakakahawa ang HIV sa pamamagitan ng ubo, pagkamay sa isang may sakit, pagyakap o paghalik.
this is one of the big lessons learned, that being in the relationship, you cannot be complacent. You know, the fact that you are safe of infections. Like I myself, I had this 10-year relationship, and the only thing that we had made mistakes is we never talked about HIV in our relationship.
Kapag nagkaroon ng HIV, mahihirapan na ang katawan na lumaban sa iba't ibang sakit. Ang taong may HIV ay maaaring magmukhang malusog kahit siya ay may sakit. Ang AIDS ang pinakahuling yugto ng HIV. Napakababa na ng panlaban ng katawan. Kaya lahat ng sintomas o senyales o sakit ay makikita sa isang tao. Ang antiretroviral ay nagpapabagal sa HIV na maging AIDS.
It took me about 6 months. Then I disclosed that to my family, because I think the vital position for me to get supported is family. Whenever they like it or not, I'm still their family. Then I talked to my family, my mom. My first thing I told her is my mother, and then my mother, of course, was shocked. But then she reads about this. Disclosing it's also make you feel better. And believe me it or not, you know, it's my experience. I went through that. I kept myself for 6 months, between 3 to 6 months, before actually tell everyone about it. And I said to myself, I wish I had told them the first day I was infected with HIV.
Qu'il faut insister sur un certain nombre de choses.
When you have a sexually transmitted infection, you need to make a decision to tell your partner about it in order to protect the relationship and your own health. You have to be vigilant if you notice any signs of STIs. Don't hesitate to see a doctor, particularly in the case of condom rupture during your sexual contact.
Dahil wala pang natutuklasang gamot sa HIV at AIDS, pag-iingat na magkaroon ng sakit na ito ang pinakamabisang gamot sa sakit. Ang ABC sa paghahadlang sa sakit ay A. Abstinence o pag-iwas sa hindi protektadong sex. B. Be faithful to one uninfected partner o pagkakaroon ng isang katalik na hindi pa nahahawa ng sakit. C. Correct and consistent use of condom o tama at laging paggamit ng condom. D. Do not share needles o huwag ipagamit o gumamit ng karayom o matalim na bagay na galing sa ibang tao. E. Education and early detection of STIs o edukasyon at maagang pagtuklas ng STI.
They must know that working abroad is not that light activity.
Every time I go ashore, I just only that's what the doctor said to me. Drink is good, drunk is bad. Drink moderately. That's what I heard.
Money, it's very important, but your condition is the most important.
You need to control your temptation for the sake of your family. Because if you don't control this kind of temptation, you don't know. One of these days, maybe you have sickness.
I just want to advise you not to follow my footsteps, because sickness can really hurt you, and things are much easier if you are aware of health risks in advance. It is good not only for you, but also for your loved ones. Please remember, my friends, having good health is not an expense, but it is an investment for a good life and for happiness.
I think this is one of the happiest moments in my life. The health check went well, and I'm going to Canada.
Importante na maging handa at tanungin sa iyong sarili kung sigurado ka bang mapalayo sa iyong pamilya, na harapin ang kahirapan ng buhay doon, at ang uri ng trabaho na iyong gagawin.
All by myself. Don't wanna be all by myself.
Mag-ingat at maging masaya sa iyong magiging karanasan.
Sometimes I feel so insecure, and love so distant and obscure remains